Assalamu alaikum. This is me, your brother, Talib Ibrahim Pugh, and here again on the same subject, pretty much in the light of COVID 19, this crisis of ours that we're dealing with every day. Again, basically on the point of the topic, Tawakkul. In other words, the meaning from the book. And as I hold in my hand this book right here, Tawakkul, which is Shaykh Saalih Al Fawzaan, pretty much. This is his book, and basically he brings proofs and the likes of benefits from the Quran, of course, and the Prophet's Sunnah as well on the topic of tawakkul, which is to trust and rely on Allah. And I didn't mention the reliance in Allah, but in the book it speaks on that, and it clarifies the meanings better than what I can do, of course. So I needed to find the book, and I found the book, and to try to use that and go from that, because this is a alim. This is one of the ulama, the scholars, one of the major scholars of our time, that has brought knowledge that what he has spent years to learn and scholarship, to gain scholarship on. So he's of course a better person to take from this knowledge than myself. I'm just like pretty much commentating on the book and speaking about the subject matter within the book, and trying to bring some benefits to those of the people who know me and those of you who are becoming aware and coming across my videos and getting to listen to these talks, because you know what it is in YouTube. It's called a vlog. It's called a vlog. So pretty much that's what I'm doing. But for me as a Muslim, blogging for me is more beneficial to do. That is of my faith. I keeps it real, as they say. I'm keeping it real. I don't go with all that foolishness and playing around and acting up and doing pranks and challenges, even, which is not that bad, but some of those challenges get really ridiculous and crazy, and they're just trying to make people laugh and entertain the people. Life isn't based on just entertaining, and this is the problem with a lot of us. We, especially here in America, that's got a big awakening here. We got a big awakening here. A lot of that entertainment stuff, it's dimmed down real much. You found that out when the basketball was stopped and baseball was stopped, and a lot of the sports and stuff was stopped. Entertainment, concerts, going and hanging out in clubs. Now you can't even be amongst each other. You gotta wear a mask all the time. This is reality. This is reality, and the reality check is not something all that bad. Some of us coming depressed and losing touch of, the reality that we need to be on, which is come to your Lord, come to the Creator, come to your Maker, correct your life before the time comes and you don't know when it is going to come. And look at what happened. We don't know what it is tomorrow for us. Even the people who are running this and shutting stuff down, and they're in charge, and they're the rulers, and the governments all over the world and stuff, controlling some of this stuff. Allah is in the background of it all. He has it all in his hands. He has it all under his control. When the time comes that he's going to release what he has released or allowed to come upon us, and when the time was to come, it came, and it's here. And when it's going to be his time, when he decides to take it and put it back away, vanquish it, take it out of existence, the virus. Because he can do that. There's no problem. He created the universe with ease. It's no problem. Created us with ease. No problem. A little microscopic virus. Pop. Kum faya kum, be and it is, and it's gone. If that's what he wants to do, when he wants to do it, it's going to be done. You know. But again, back to the point. Trust in him and rely on him. Now, of course, these videos are more geared to the Muslim of understanding and what we're saying, what we're talking about, what I'm speaking about, what I'm reading from. But if you're a sound-minded person that is not a Muslim, then hopefully, inshallah, as we say by the will of Allah, that it will inspire you and inspire and spark that heart off. Get that heart sparked off because of your experience in your life, that you know what you've been going through. And you're starting to see Allah has taken away the veil of all that which you was just having a good time in, thinking it was the best of your life. And it probably wasn't really, because you was covering it, covering the realities, even some of the mental problems that you've had, the bad life that you had grown up in, or whatever, the missing of a loved one, or the loss of a loved one, whatever, you know, disability that you have, and you've been for all your life since you was born, or a disease you was born with, or that eventually you was given something that you didn't want to really have, you know, a disease or a disability, like all these different things that make it hard for people, but they want to try to not acknowledge it, of course, because they don't want to feel a way about it. They don't want to be depressed about it. So, you know, some people, they cover up a lot of the things that they've been through or what they're going through. And usually they do things to make them feel better. And we call them escapisms. Some people call it entertainment or fulfilling one's desires. Living to the fullest, you know, whatever, partying, having a good time, getting your drink on, getting your grind on, or whatever you want to call it. All that stuff. Some of the stuff is permissible. Like, it's permissible for you to be with a man and a woman, to be married, get the hint, married in proper union, and then that would be pleasing to Allah. Maybe pleasing to you to just be with a person and you just having love, sexual relations or whatever, especially, you know, when it's not a normal sexual union. And I'm not going to get into that, but, you know, you pretty much doing what you desire. But is your desire in line with what the Creator desires of you? Are you sure about that? 100% sure? That's why we gotta go what it says here. Trust in Allah. So I'm gonna try to get into it real quick because I spend a little more commentary time. Yeah. Well, no. So as the first part, being actually to give a quick introduction from the Shaykh, Shaykh Saalih al Fawzaan, who yeah, hold on for a second. Yeah, his biography, pretty much. He is the noble Sheikh Dr. Saalih bin Fawzaan bin Abdullah from the family of Fawzaan, born in 1354 AH, after the Hijri, that's what that stands for, 1933 CE, the Christian era, in the city of Shamasiya, I think it is, Qasim, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. His father died when he was young, so he was brought up by his family. He learned the noble Quran, the basics of reading and writing with the Imam of the masjid of his town, who was a definitive reciter called Sheikh Hamoud ibn Sulaiman al-Talil, who was later made a judge in the town of Dariyah in the region of Qasim. And it speaks about his later studies and going to school, and which I'm trying, I'm not going to go into because it's going to be long-winded. And I'm not, like, again, I'm not trying to make this video too long. The time's racing by. So to get into the first part of it, as it is part of the introduction, let me see here. Okay, so as it follows from what after, there was an opening, and the opening is you bring praises on Allah, and that He is the Rabb and the Lord of all that exist, and just bringing praises on Him and His Messenger, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and acknowledging His companions and the very importance of guidance and being on the path of His Sunnah, of the Prophet's Sunnah, until the day of the judgment. And so it says, as it follows, indeed, Tawakkul is from the greatest forms of worship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and I'm going to translate from the Arabic, because my Arabic skills or abilities are not that great, and I don't want to stumble and make mistakes with the Arabic, because this is Allah's verse and it's from the Quran, and you don't want to make mistakes to where you're saying something that, because the Arabic language is very precise in the way it's supposed to be pronounced, and if you say it in the wrong way, you could be changing the meaning of the word. So I try to be careful, and I need to take time to read, so I'm not that professed in it. So may Allah make me better, and all of us. And it says in the English translation, and in Allah put your trust if you are believers indeed. Again, and in Allah put your trust if you are believers indeed. So that right there sums it up for you, for me, for all of us. We have to put our trust in Him, because if we say we believe, then everything's going to be fine. As far as what He's going to allow us to be able to deal with in this life, what we're going to be able to bear, because Allah doesn't give you what you cannot bear, unless you're a disbeliever, and you're very disobedient to Allah, like Pharaoh with Musa, with Moses, and some of the other people from the times of the past that went against Allah, and Allah had to bring down on them His wrath. And some people have different beliefs in their religions, and they don't want to accept that Allah, He also, besides being a loving creator, and He is merciful to His creation, He's also severe in punishment if you don't think that, or have a belief that He's not around, if you don't think that He exists, and if you don't, and you think you can do what you want and transgress the bounds that He put, because you don't believe in it, it's like you don't see it. It's like it's not there. But then when you cross over that boundary, pow, you find out, and then you cry, and then you regret, and it might be too late. You might be taken totally out of this life. Besides the hardships that the people get, because Allah humbles them. This is a humbling too. This is what we're going through. We all have to be humbled. I'm humbled. I lost my job. Well, not lost it, but I'm laid off, as you can probably say, which is pretty much the same. You're not working. There's a lot of things that everybody's going through, pretty much the same thing, and just people are dealing with it differently. But the best ways is to go back to your Lord and trust in Him. Now, for those who are not Muslim, the only thing that I can say is, may Allah guide you to Islam. And, that's the ultimate. But of course, I'm not here to try to convert anybody. I'm only here to bring the good news and something that you can have to help you to be better in this situation, and until the time is up where Allah allows things to get better. So as it says again, to try to get to as much as I can, I don't want to go past the time that I did the last video, because I thought I wasn't going to be able to upload it. So it says, so here he made a condition of faith, tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he said to his Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that means, in the peace and blessings be upon him, then when you have taken a decision, put your trust in Allah. So when you're taking a decision in your life, put your trust in it. Or you're dealing with some things in your life, put your trust in Allah. So here he commanded his Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to place his tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he subhanahu wa ta'ala said, O Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, O Prophet, Allah is sufficient for you and for the believers who follow you. Okay, so Allah is sufficient. He can go and try to deal with everything in this life to try to get some sufficiency. And we really don't get no full sufficiency. Even if you claim to be self-sufficient, you're really not, because you still have a need. You still have to drink, you still have to eat, you still have to sleep. These are the things that Allah has control over. Water doesn't come from us. It's within us. We need it to be in us, but it don't come from us. And we could say it comes from the earth, or it comes from the atmosphere in the sky. So who has control over that? The meteorologist? No, they don't. Scientists? No, they study it. They brought some scientific understanding about it that we understand. Water, precipitation, and all that other type of stuff that I learned in high school and junior high. But the originator of it is Allah. So as long as you need to drink, and I'm just speaking on that, besides all the other things that we need to exist and function as human beings, it all goes back to Allah. So we should rely on him, because he suffices us. Okay, and that's where reliance comes in, as I didn't mention in the other video. Reliance. And he said, and this is the last that I'm going to bring if I can, if I have time. And he said, and whomsoever has taqwa, which means fearing Allah, and trying to be obedient to Allah. With fear is obedience, to stay away from that which is not good, that he's not pleased with. And has taqwa of Allah, he will make a way from him to get out from every difficulty, and he will provide him from sources he could never imagine. And whomsoever puts his trust in Allah, then he will suffice him. And when it says him, it means women too. It's not, that's just a figurative way of speaking about mankind. And verily, Allah will accomplish his purpose. Indeed, Allah has set a measure for all things. So the measure for the coronavirus is set. And meaning how long Allah allows it, it's going to be. And when it's finished, its time is up, its time is going to be up. And when our time is up, our time is going to be up. So before that time, we have time. So get right with your Lord. For the Muslims, get right with your Lord. Trust in Allah. Turn back to him and doing what you're supposed to do. Tawakkul. Taqwa. Fear Allah. And rely on him and take the means. Be out there doing what you're supposed to do for your family. Doing what you're supposed to do for your deen first. Your deen first. Getting your deen on. And getting things done that you're supposed to do for your family, as far as the men and the women, being right, guiding them correctly, your children, protecting them as a man, taking them away from that which is haram, or calling them to what's halal, and straightening their lives and making themselves more pleasing to Allah, guiding them. And then those of us who are not following suit, then, or if you're amongst those people who are not following suit, whether they're Muslims, especially not Muslims, but if they're Muslims, then you have to free yourself from them. You have to move on and go forth that which is better for you. Like they spoke about the man who did all those sins until the day that he met another man, which was supposed to be a righteous man, and he was, before he tried to take his life, and I'm just going and basically being brief on it, that this man told him how he would be able to receive, to be able to get get to Jannah, or be forgiven for his sins. Would he ever be able to be forgiven for his sins? And this man told him the only way is that you leave off from what you're doing and leave this place. Remove yourself and go to a place that are the people that are righteous. Meaning, why? Because they're gonna influence you to do right. Just like the streets. The only way you're gonna really get your life together, and you're being out there and doing wrong, or you've done wrong, or you're being called back to the streets, you got to get away from the streets. You got to get away from that life. You got to get away from the people who is within that life, whether it was people that was your boys or whatever, you know your homes, whatever. Get away from them, because Allah, your life ain't worth them. You think so? I'd rather die for you. No, don't rather die for nobody, but yourself. You got to ride or die for yourself. You got to live your life for you until your time comes. And on the day that we meet our Lord, your ride or die isn't going to be with you. Nobody's going to be. It's only going to be you and your Lord, each and every one of us. So may Allah guide us and set our affairs straight. Ameen. And for the non-Muslim, may Allah guide you to Islam, so that that which I brought to you just now, it will be in your heart and in your mind, and you will ride out this thing until it's time to finish riding, and then we can get off of this bumpy road or these waves that we're dealing with, and feeling fear, feeling despair, or whatever you're feeling now. I don't know, but you know. So turn to your Lord and trust in Allah. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Don't forget to give them thumbs up and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. All right. Take care of yourself.